What a fantastic morning so far, everybody. The CPI data has come out. We're going to dive into what that means. But if you're looking at a chart, or maybe you're watching this back later, we got some positive news this morning. Gonna break it all down for you. You don't want to go anywhere. Make sure you smash that like button. You hit subscribe so you don't miss anything here on the channel. I got a couple of updates as well for the end of this video. We're not going to go crazy long. This isn't going to be an hour-long live stream. I think maybe we might get to 20 minutes or so, but I definitely want to talk about everything important affecting your portfolio right now. If you guys are excited, you gotta smash that like button. This is the Investing Bros. All right, let's go ahead and jump on into the juicy details. I'm not even going to try to have some fun just opening this up. We're going to look right at core inflation and inflation numbers. This is massive, and I told you guys yesterday and the day before, watch this dip be because there's a lot of fear that these numbers are going to be high, but watch them actually come in lower. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Core inflation, let's start month over month, expectation 0.3%, comes in at 0.2. That's a win. Core inflation year over year, supposed to come in at 3.6, maybe 3.5. We'll beat both of them. 3.4, that's a win. Inflation rate month over month was supposed to be 0.1, 0%. That's a win. Inflation rate year over year, 3.3, even though it's supposed to be 3.4. Long story short, everybody, CPI actually came out a little bit higher, kind of closer to expected. But as a whole, the inflation data came out less than what we thought it was going to be, just as we predicted here on our channel. Now, great timing by me. I put a post out this morning. Maybe some of you saw it on Twitter. You guys need to follow me on Twitter, by the way. We have been growing very, very quickly here on YouTube, but I have not seen that growth necessarily translate over to Twitter. So make sure to go to Twitter and follow me at Tims_TA. It's also in the description down below. But this is a tweet. Look at this. Look at this time date right here. Oh, you can't see it. Hold on. I got to zoom up. Look at that time date. Am I lying here? 8/18. All right. This is about 12 minutes before CPI data came out. I said, good bounce this morning ahead of the CPI data. Again, when I made this post, we were seeing about 67,700. Ahead of CPI data coming out in a couple of minutes. If the numbers are favorable, we could see Bitcoin go back above 69,000 ahead of today's FOMC meeting announcement. And if you click on the photo here, you actually see I put a target based off this order block somewhere in the realm of at least 69,000, pushing close to $400. I kid you not. I was literally, before I show you this, I was literally watching on this monitor over here. I was watching CPI data. I had a tweet fixed over on this monitor. I see the data come out. I move over. I literally had formatted my tweet, the one that I put out breaking news about what the numbers were. All I had to do was plug in the numbers. I had a good feeling they were going to be lower, so I had everything saying lower. I just wanted to plug in the number 3.3. I literally clicked that in 2 seconds. Flip back over this monitor and go to my screen, and I looked at this, the price action of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin shot up. You guys can see here, if I were to go like the 10-minute chart, that was the candle. The candle shot up immediately to 69,400. So that tweet aged very beautifully. I think that we probably have a little further we could go to the upside. Let's talk about that. But before we do, let's just kind of recap what this recent bounce means for all of your crypto holdings. It is confirmation that all of this right here, all of these really ugly bearish candles, all of this fear was baked in to a bad report from CPI, a bad report from inflation. We talked about this pretty much all week, and at the end of last week and early this week, we talked about these are newer holders who are freaking out, who are falling for the FUD that was being given by a lot of news sources. All the while, BlackRock, Fidelity, Michael Saylor, Whales, long-term holders, they were eating all this up saying, you know what? Yeah, we'll buy your $66,000 dip. And then, of course, we run it back up this morning. We'll have to see what Jerome Powell says later. I'll talk more about that here in a couple of minutes. But as a whole, This is exactly what we predicted would happen. This is baking in bad numbers. This is now we have good numbers, so price is going to shoot back to the upside. Bro said, "Stop spitting at the mic." I try not to spit at the mic. Sometimes when you talk very and then animated, spit comes out, but I'll do my best. Long story short, this is exactly what we thought it was going to be. And so now it's time to take a look at what are the next levels. Now, I'll be honest. When I made that tweet that I just showed you guys, this one right here, and I said, hey, we're going to jump back up above 69,000 ahead of the FOMC meeting this afternoon, I didn't think it was going to happen that fast. I'm not surprised we had a big blue candle. I just thought we'd go a little longer. I'm wondering right now if we're just going to hesitate here. I wonder if we're going to stay right at this level throughout the rest of the morning and into the afternoon. Why? Well, we have a pretty significant order block right here that does say there are a lot of people who are looking for this to take their profit. A lot of people took profit back at this level. You guys will also see the bearish smart trail. That is a very strong level of resistance in play. That also is sitting at this level. However, we are printing at the moment on the 4-hour chart a pretty strong buy signal on Luxalgo. We have not hit our take profit up above us, but I guarantee you when this candle closes here, I don't know exactly when it opened, but in a couple of hours, when it closes, I bet the take profit will be back in the range of 71,000, give or take. So now all of a sudden, what we're watching for before the FOMC meeting and after, can Bitcoin reconquer pretty much 70,000, right? So the smart trail and the order block kind of come in this range right here between 69.9 and 70,100. As a whole, though, if we can just kind of get up above this and close a 4-hour candle above it, there's a decent chance we will see Bitcoin's price by the evening back up closer to, if not pushing 72,000. And then I think things can continue to move to the upside after that. But for right now, those are my targets. I think we're sitting at some pretty serious resistance at the moment. But if we get some positivity, we'll break on through. What will that positivity look like? Well, now I want to preface and get your guys' attention thinking about what's going to happen this afternoon. And ultimately, in a nutshell, Jerome Powell is going to be speaking. He's going to tell everybody, I guarantee you this. I guess I can't say with 100% certainty, but I'm going to say 99.99999 for about 84 more nines. I'm that much percent confident that he will go on stage and say, oh, we've decided that we're going to keep rates paused at the moment. But what happens after that's going to be interesting, because up to this point, Jerome Powell has kind of been a very good politician and not really necessarily giving us a lean one way or the other. I asked you guys in a poll right here, what do you think he's going to be? Hawkish? Meaning, is he going to come out and be aggressive and say, no, we're going to raise rates? Like, we're nowhere close to where we want to be. That would be negative. That would be very bad for the markets. He's going to be dovish and say, oh, we might need to go ahead and start cutting some rates now, which would be very good for the markets. Or will he be dab smack in the middle? I'm kind of leaning towards dab smack in the middle because that's how he's always been. But if he is dovish, if he does give us some sort of hint that those interest rate cuts will be coming sooner rather than later, I think things could go very, very well. Now, Caleb Franzen is going to be on this afternoon. We all know Caleb Franzen. Well, I say we all. Some of you might not know who Caleb Franzen is. He's one of our weekly guests. We love having him on here. I would call him an expert in this world of macroeconomics, especially when it comes to dealing with these inflation numbers, the Fed details. He is still staunchly sitting in the camp of we're not going to see an interest rate cut for at least 6 months. And I think he's got a lot of good reasons for it. The issue is, though, and I'm going to talk to him about it this afternoon, but to me, I'm not necessarily as concerned about what reality is when I'm looking to make investments. The price will go up if people think interest rates will get cut, right? And so this is what we're looking at right now with the CME futures. And I'm going to get Caleb's take on it this afternoon. So make sure you come back and you watch the afternoon show. But when I said I was 99.99999% sure we're going to keep rates still, part of that reason is because at the moment, the June prediction from CME futures, 99.5% saying we're going to stay still, only 0.5% saying we might get a cut. It's not going to change, guys. That's not going to happen. He's not ready to cut rates yet. If you move into July, this number has dropped dramatically. This number, even earlier this morning, was sitting at 94%. It's right now sitting at 83% that we're going to stay paused. 16.5% are saying we'll cut rates in July. Again, I don't think that will happen. But this is another nice, interesting twist. If you guys watched the show yesterday, the highest prediction was that in September we would stay paused. It had a 53 or something percent probability. With what we just saw happen this morning, and this might continue to climb, so come back this afternoon, we have to look at it again. 62% are predicting that we should have one rate cut by September, 11% saying possibly two. Then you start moving over into November. We're starting to see very slim numbers that we should stay paused. And then you go to December, only 4.2%. This was literally at, I want to say 20% yesterday. Now 4.2% are saying that we will stay paused. The rest, which guess what? That means 95.8% are predicting that we will get at least one, if not possibly up to 2, 3, or 4 rate cuts before the end of the year. And I say all this to say, this does not mean for sure we will see rate cuts. And Caleb Franz is going to come on this afternoon. He's probably going to give us some very good reasons as to why these details aren't really the right details you should be looking at. But here's the point I want you guys to walk away from this from. It doesn't matter what will actually happen in December right now. As long as people think that we will be cutting rates before the end of the year, and I don't think we priced this in, as long as people think that rates will be cut, they will start to invest their money based off of that thinking. And seeing those high probabilities I just showed you, it's going to cause a lot of people to feel like they need to go ahead and put their money into Bitcoin now. Now, things can change down the road. Something could change with inflation data. Something could change with job reports. There's a lot of things that could happen between now and then. But I want you to walk away understanding it doesn't always matter what the truth will be in the future. It matters right now what people think the truth will be in the future. So for now, it is very much looking like we should be leaning bullish. But there are three things. There are three things I cannot wait to hear Jerome Powell address this afternoon. Number one, of course, I want him to address these inflation numbers. We're not down to his 2% that he's been wanting to get to, but we're getting closer. So what does he feel? How positive does he feel about these inflation numbers? And does he think that we can continue to drop them if we start cutting rates in 2024? That's the first thing I want to hear about. The second thing I want to hear about is I want to hear about those job reports from last week. Now, he's a good politician. So even if someone asks him the specific question I want to ask him, he's not going to answer it. My question is I want to ask him, hey, Jerome Powell, what do you think about the deep details down to the fact that Americans are not gaining jobs, but rather foreigners are what are ticking up that job number, that 272,000 new jobs? Yeah, that really wasn't for any Americans. That is detailing what foreign-born people are getting in work, which, again, no offense to foreign-born people, love you, but in the United States of America, if Americans are not gaining jobs, that is a problem. I would love to hear him answer that question. He won't, but I want to hear what he thinks as a whole. Does he think those numbers were good numbers? Does he think that that's a false flag? I want to hear his response to that. And then the third thing that I want to hear his response to, and if you've been watching my show for this week, I addressed this in the last two of them. What are his thoughts about Canada and Europe cutting rates? And what are his thoughts about the stress that it could put on the trade relationships we have with the G7 if they're cutting rates? And of course, when you cut rates, it makes your currency a little less valuable because you're easing. What does he think about the consequences of America staying strong and not cutting rates, but all of our major trade partners cutting theirs? And all of a sudden, you're going to start to see this massive imbalance of the foreign currencies, or America's currency, US dollar, to foreign currencies that could put a lot of stress on relationships and the world economy. And guess what happens if the world economy goes down? The American economy goes down. Will he feel, or does he feel, any pressure to cut rates as well to keep a balance in the status quo of our trade partnerships? These are the things that I cannot wait to hear him respond to this afternoon. Now, let's continue to move on here. There's a good article put out. This was even before all of the great news this morning, but I think the good news kind of just backs this information up. Bitcoin's potential surge, analyst predicts a 75% increase amid declining retail investment. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the 75%, but I think it's intriguing, the arguments that the analyst makes. Let's get into the details of this article, scrolling down to the first line. According to CryptoQuant's recent report, CryptoQuant, great website. um, giving us a lot of good on-chain data. Authored by analyst Axel Adler, Bitcoin could be gearing up for another substantial price hike. Over the past month, individual investors' demand for Bitcoin has dropped by 17%. This is reminiscent of a similar trend observed in January, which saw a corresponding 75% price increase. So that's one of the reasons why I think 75%, I don't think that we're going to match the increase tit for tat. I think that saying we're going to increase substantially, just like we did in January, that's a good argument. I don't know if you can say, well, in January, we rallied 75%, so we should do it again here in June and July. I think that that's not quite good, logic comparing those two, but it's still an intriguing point. Adler's analysis shows that on May 24th, the demand from individual investors has fallen by 31% over a 17-day period, reaching negative 14.5%. This sharp reaction from retail investors often correlates with significant market movements, as demonstrated by past trends. Once the individual investor interest wanes, institutional interest tends to drive the market price upward, propelling Bitcoin to new heights. 100%. This is what I've been telling you guys, as all of these weak-handed retail new investors are giving up their Bitcoin, and yes, the price went down temporarily, but this is the precursor to the whales and the institutions and the long-term holders who understand the market movements better. They're looking at the weakness of these retail investors and saying, this is an amazing opportunity to gobble up some more Bitcoin before the moon gets hit. And I do think that's going to happen here very soon. The January decline in individual investor involvement brought Bitcoin from $40,000 to $74,000. Adler speculates that the current market conditions could propel Bitcoin to a new all-time high of $120,000. So that would be his analysis based off that 75%. Again, 120, probably a little high for me. I would really like to see what Bitcoin does when we get to 80K first. Then you probably have some areas in the 90, 95K area that I think are going to be interesting. And then, of course, there's that age-old psychological level of 100,000. We have been talking, us Bitcoin holders, about $100,000 Bitcoin for 4 years. It is a long time coming. So to think that we're going to blast through 100,000 with no one thinking that that's the level that they're going to take profit, we're kidding ourselves. I guarantee you right now, there are probably billions of dollars of take profit signals right now sitting right at 100,000. So again, just because we did it in January doesn't mean we'll do it exactly match for match here in June and July. But I do think a big move is coming. I do think the logic that Adler is talking about here checks out, that we often see the low interest from retail investors be a sign, a warning that a bigger bullish move is coming in the future. And again, how far we get, somewhere between 80 to 100,000, I do believe is going to be my next big target before we start to look for, I would say if we get to 80,000, don't be surprised to see 80,000 pull back down to like 71, 72. If I showed you that chart, I think I've talked about this before on the channel, but I want to address it with you guys again here. Let's go out to the daily chart. I told you guys, do not be surprised with this level right here. Don't want to use that tool. With the level right here hovering around 72,000, 71,000 being former resistance, meaning we've had a couple candles above it, but for the most part, 71,000 has been used as a sell place, a sell order. Don't be surprised to see the price of Bitcoin, when the bullish catalyst takes off, get up possibly closer to 80,000 and then retrace to 71, 72 and use a former resistance level as support. That's a very bullish thing to do. Don't be surprised to see it happen. I think, though, again, historically during this bull market, we have seen, if I back this up, we have seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pullbacks of 20%. 20% pullbacks on Bitcoin seem to be the former, like past bull markets, we've had 30, 40% pullbacks. I think 20% is the new bull market pullback total. So don't be surprised, and these numbers actually kind of check out. Don't be surprised to see price action go to 80, maybe pull back and treat 71, 72 as support. That'll be just over a 10% loss. Then maybe we make a push towards 100K. All right, we hit that psychological level, and then we have another one of our classic 2024 bull market pullbacks of 20%, and we come back down to where? $80,000, and then we continue to move up and to the right. You will not see Bitcoin just do this, guys. The prices do not do that. If you're newer to investing, if you've never looked at a chart, there is no chart in the history of mankind that has just parabolic up and to the right, no pullbacks whatsoever. And Bitcoin is no exception. Even in this extremely crazy bull market where we rallied 20,000% back between 2015 and 2017, you see several pullbacks. And those don't look very significant. Remember I said 30, 40%? Every single one of those pullbacks was 30 or 40% throughout the entire bull market. This one's not going to be different. We're going to see those pullbacks happen as well. I just don't think we'll see 30 and 40%. I think we'll see more 10 and 20% pullbacks throughout the rest of the bull market. Keep an eye on that. That's going to wrap up right now what I have with Bitcoin. We're already sitting at 20 minutes. And so I'm going to save, I wanted to take a look at some altcoins, but we're going to save altcoins for later. We got a lot of altcoins popping off. Come back at 3 p.m. We'll take a look at altcoin charts and go more in depth on where they could be going. But I did want to give you guys one update for my community. For our community, we had a community trade that went live this last week on Ondo. Check it out. We hit our take profit this morning. I possibly could have stayed in, but I had it set to where we had the trade set up. We profited with $100. We actually had a stop loss. We stopped out down to, we lost 30%. So this newer trade, we entered a second one. If you guys are in our Discord, you knew about it. We hit our take profit this morning. That was a 10% gain. We were trading on a 10x, which means a 100% profit. Somebody in Discord, you got to come back this afternoon to hear what I'm going to say you have to do. But somebody in our Discord, in our community, is going to win $140 because of our community trade. It gets better. T-Shroom is back this afternoon. So you also got to come back and see T-Shroom again. We're going to be announcing a lot of giveaways because we got to give away our community trade. We got to give away $200 for hitting 20,000 subscribers. And then we're going to give away 20 different people. We're going to select 20 people to earn $50 because we're having a celebration for getting above 20,000 subscribers. What I want to tell you, though, is moving forward, there's going to be a lot of changes. We're going to do a lot of giveaways. We're going to be engaging with you guys a lot, but we're no longer going to be doing giveaways for hitting subscriber numbers. What we're going to do, though, is based off of affiliate links and sponsorships and community engagement, we're going to be doing giveaways. So we're going to be doing a lot more community trades. This one, anyone in the community can win. The $140, anyone can win it. But going forward, we're going to have you guys sign up for BloFin. That is our sponsor, our trading sponsor on this channel. If you guys want to learn more about trading and do more trading, make sure to use our BloFin link down below. And when you do, and you give us access to your, you give us proof of purchase, we will create a special level in Discord where only our BloFin owners are in there, and you are going to be the ones who are eligible to win our community trade giveaways. Go sign up for BloFin right now, link down below. With that said, I went a little longer than I wanted to this morning. I wanted to get in, give you guys the alpha, and get out. But you guys got to make sure you smash that like button. It's this one right there. Smash that like button. And if you enjoyed the channel, hit subscribe as well. We'll be back at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss it. Love you guys. Take care.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news, catch a word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.